Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to Marianne's Mystic Mentions with me, Marianne. And happy Mother's Day, first and foremost. This is May 8th today, 2022, and I just want to wish a very, very special Mother's Day to every mother out there. And that I hope you can enjoy it and spend it in exactly the way you want to. Because sometimes, it's not about being with your kids. It's like, bye guys, I'm gonna go and play. Or with me, I'm actually going out to a brunch with my older children, and I savor those times because they're kind of far and few in between. So yeah, happy Mother's Day. One of the best important things in my life was having my children, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, especially since, for those that are new, welcome especially. I love and appreciate you. Not especially, I love my returning viewers. Without you, I wouldn't have my channel, seriously. And I'm a smaller channel, but I hope to grow that. And that's where you come in. If you're liking what you see, I would greatly appreciate you pushing the like button and subscribing, which is absolutely free. It's just a way to notify YouTube that you're interested and that they in turn will want to help me evolve and grow my channel. So thank you for those that have done that and are going to do it and are thinking about it. I really truly appreciate it. Now what I do is, as my format for those that are new, I love to read for every single sign in the zodiac. I have come to a place that I had started originally when I started my channel where I do one reading a day. And even though there's spaces in between, it's only because sometimes, depending on what's happening in the sky, literally, the uploads might take longer than I would anticipate. And we are in a retrograde Mercury, see? That's one of the things, is the verbiage and the way the speaking gets very affected by most of us. It's just part of the deal. I'll speak again. We're about to enter a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and the shadow period's happening right now because the official date is Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, May 10th through June 3rd. And then a shadowy period, probably realistically through the 18th of June. And then it's cleared and you can start back up to things that may have been slowed down, or, some blockages, some time for reviewing and revisiting things you've already put into practice or, started. So it has a lot of beautiful aspects to it. It's not all bad. It can be a little bit, frustrating at times, or if communication isn't, you feel like you're not being understood, or maybe you're not understanding other people. And that's just a common denominator. So please don't take that to heart or too personally. However, yes, so a lot of times with Mercury retrograde and having to do with moving parts, it has a lot to do with technologies. So it generally takes longer for me to upload my videos, but I just keep going at it. And I like to do one reading a day because I have another job, and I've already said this a few times. And I feel more comfortable not trying to rush and giving as much of a balanced, centered and grounded reading as possible. Now today's featured sign, as I go around my zodiac wheel, I start at Aries, I end with Pisces, is the beautiful, beautiful fire element of Leo, who is ruled by the sun. And the sun, this gives you a great idea of, just right off the bat, the personality you're going to see and feel most of the time with Leos. And that is this vibrance and this energetic kind of just bright. You can't miss them. They enter a room and you feel it, but you see it, and you're drawn to it, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The other thing I love, and I think a good word that represents Leos, is spirit, because of the fire, I would imagine. There's great spirit and incredible passion. Very, very passionate human beings. Passion for me, like emotion, is what really gets things to a manifestational, realization and actual, tangible results. It's that oomph that you can think it and you can see it and imagine it, but then you've got to feel it and emotionally, just that's the last ingredient, if you will, that really puts it into effect. And you're going to get that with Leos. Now, a lot of times I have 2 Leo brothers. I should say I actually lost one of my Leo brothers 5 years ago now. And it's still a process. But both of them were in the entertaining field and exceptionally good at their field. And that's what I feel about Leos, is they are they're a fixed sign, and they're very determined to be exactly who they choose to be. Now, my brothers knew, I'm serious, there's no exaggeration here. One knew, he was kind of pushed into it, as we all were. We were from a family of entertainers, and one knew he wanted to be an actor 5 or 6, and is still doing it to this day, 50 plus years later. And then my other brother was a world-renowned magician, close-up magician. And I remember the conversation. The one that passed, he was, we were walking together down the street where we lived. He says, I want to be a magician. And I was like, okay, because I trusted and believed, and we were just 2 years apart. So there was a great connection with us. But point in case, there's great artistry and creativity. And a lot of times I would say Leos do lean towards acting and things that let them be center stage, okay? The king of the forest, this is true, they want that attention, they love it. And they also are extremely gregarious and generous and just, yes, they have a temperament. I will say that, if they get upset, they just roar like the lion, and then it's done. So luckily, they're not generally, depending on other placements, always, it's a general reading, not inclined to hold grudges, okay? Just brush themselves off and start over again, and you're just like, oh, okay. Whew. You get to know the pattern and you think, okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna either leave the situation or maybe curtail to them, and then they, kind of softens them and whatnot. Nevertheless, they're beautiful, caring, loving people. Each and every one of you. And so I'm excited to read for you. And what's neat is that today we have the moon in your sign. So that's a nice synchronistic aspect of the reading for you too. So I do want to I always do this. I mention the main astrology aspects. I think astrology is phenomenal, and whether we know it or believe it or not, this is the mystical part of my channel. There are things happening that we are not seeing, but happening nonetheless, and they absolutely affect us. And for me, I like to know why I'm feeling a certain way. What is this energy? What is this motivation, or what is this feeling of, whatever the feeling may be to you? It has a lot to do with our surroundings and the incredible vast universe that definitely affects us. And planets are a huge part of that, but I'll keep that to a minimum and just explain that we're in the season of Taurus. So Taurus is a beautiful, wonderful earth sign that is very practical and very grounded and very, steadfast, another fixed aspect sign. And I mean, they are very, very interested in the comforts of life and the luxury, and all the senses are what I can attribute to the beautiful sign of Taurus, in the fact that they are also ruled by Venus. Venus is one of the most feminine planets, and absolutely all about love, all about beauty, all about comforts, all about money, all about everything that you love and enjoy is what Venus focuses on and wants to bring for us. So that's the ruling planet of Taurus. So you're going to have an emphasis in that this month. And then it gets better. We have our second of the 2 eclipses that run in pairs. The last one was in Taurus, the partial solar new moon eclipse on the 30th. So just before we came into May. And that effect, everything I said, and then more, depending on what your circumstances are. It could be your health. You want to start a new health regimen, a new job, a new business. It's just feeling super exciting and very, very promising for long-term effects, right? That's the other thing about Earth. It's for the long term. It's not, it's not a fly-by-night energy at all. And so that's kind of promising as well, especially in relationships, right? A lot of times when you want to commit to somebody, you want to know it's for the long term. So there's that beautiful aspect. And then we have the second eclipse, which is in the sign of Scorpio, full lunar eclipse, full moon. happening on the 16th. So, gosh, what, next Tuesday or something? A week, not this coming Tuesday, but about a week or so. So we're already actually feeling the effects. It's gradually growing. And the eclipses and their effects and their story that unravels and that we are to learn and be taught and to, experience is for months to come. So Scorpio represents truth and transformation, the 8th house, which has to do with life and birth and then rebirth again, the phoenix rising from the ashes, going deep. Scorpio was historically ruled by Mars, which is a huge masculine energy. And there'll be more of that in a moment to explain. But more modernly by Pluto. And Pluto is absolutely the hardcore kind of sullen, serious energy that allows us to go deep and really decide what's good for us, what we need to let go of, how we want to transform, and experience great change and revolution in our life. Now, Pluto went retrograde on April 29th, so that'll be there. It happens every year through the 8th of October. And while all planets, including Mercury retrograde, are happening, it's about going inside. It's not so much about the effects and how things on the outer world are affecting us. It's our own internal, promptings and intuition and guidance. And so you're going to be feeling that for some time, and about self-value, self-love, self-respect, and never questioning that if at all possible, which is hard. I know. I think we all go into intervals and times where we do question that. Well, while you're questioning it, I think it's going to reach some pretty beautiful conclusions, and the truth will be revealed for yourself and through others that'll help you with those decisions, particularly with the Scorpio. Water sign Scorpio, very emotional, very intense, very sexual, very fixed sign that wants to, so there's 3 fixed sign aspects that I've already mentioned. And that's huge, okay? So, being very set in your ways and very determined, very, very determined energy is coming through. So the full moon always puts a light on circumstances, and if there's a little bit of a weak aspect to them, it's going to show it, okay? If there isn't, there's nothing to concern yourself with. I will finalize this with a couple more beautiful, beautiful things happening in May for all of us, and particularly for you, Leo, because we have the beautiful benevolent planet of Jupiter that gets to visit our particular sign every 12 years. So about 8 times in a lifetime if you live till 96. It's not a lot, but when it comes there, it's pretty phenomenal in a lot of ways. It's always meant to be one of the best years and one of the most important opportunity years. Luck, it could be in love, it could be in money, it could just, Jupiter expands things, and it's about freedom, and it's about independence, and about ideas, and it's so incredible that sometimes you think, please don't go, please. But whatever happens will continue for the following 12 years until it does come back. And right now, on the 10th, next Tuesday, we do have our Mercury retrograde starting on the same day. And that'll be through June 3rd in the sign of Gemini. And just know and just look up, what to be aware of and how to get through these retrogrades, because we're used to it at this point. It's like half of the year that we all are affected by it. And when you do follow those simple rules and guidelines, honestly, it can be actually quite wonderful. And I'm really realizing that more and more. The flexibility part of it, having a schedule that you have everyone and their appointments are set in stone, and then they call and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, something came up, I actually need to change that. You change it, and you change the other one, and you're just looking at the month and you're going, oh, that's hilarious and wonderful. And it's all workable, and you can adapt to it if you allow yourself. And take it easy. And if it's a little extra time that you didn't expect, I'm sure you'll find something to do, Leo. You love to be busy. You're that fiery, ambitious, energetic, soul. So the point I'm trying to make is Jupiter enters in from Pisces, that it's been in through the beginning of the year, to the sign of Aries. Now, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is your fellow fire sign. So because you're a fire sign, I would say you're going to benefit more than the elements that aren't, okay? We all absolutely benefit. Leo, this like simpatico kind of, and you have that courage and strength and desire and drive anyway. It's only going to, fortify that. So if you've been like a lot of us, myself included, where you just have not felt, even though the mind is just so eager, and there's something about the energy, well, it's understandable if you really delve deep into what's happening and what's been happening. It can be exhausting, even on a mental level, right? That affects our physical, absolutely. That's changing, okay? And it's going to change because Jupiter will be in Aries from May 10th through, I believe it's October 28th. Then it goes back into Jupiter until the 20th of December and goes back into Aries through May 16th of next year. Watch and see, okay? I'm excited for you. New beginnings, new starts, 111 cardinal. Yes, let's make it happen. Innovated spotlight, all your wishes and dreams, really, just working in your favor. So kudos for that. What I'm going to do now, though, because my system is, of course, reading for the 4 weeks of the month, I use my tarot divination for that. And then I finish with an oracle. I've got another extra one that's a manifesto motivational message, which I love, and then I'll finish with the rune. So if you want to skip forward for any reason, feel free to do so, but I think it's fun to get all the information you can. I always do like to start with spirit-guided information about your special love connection for the month of May, and love, of course, is in all forms. I can't help but feel that I forgot to mention the other two things. Because of Jupiter going into Aries, the polar opposite sign is always very attached in its own right. And when I say polar opposite, it's because it's 6 months away in the zodiac sign, as well as, literally. Aries is March through April. And I'm trying to find Aries. I'm sorry. Here it is. And the polar opposite is Libra in September, October. And so Libra is all about Venus ruled as well, love, compatibility, relationships, partnerships, justice, fairness, money. Venus rules Libra. Venus is ruling Taurus right now. I mean, it's not right now, it always has. It's just very, very, very prominent during this month. So I feel there's a lot of connections with romantic and long-term commitments with that Taurus energy. And if you've been thinking about it, you might just pop the question, Leos. I'm just saying. It's very possible with that fiery side happening with you and the whole thing I just explained. So it's exciting. Now, when I picked this particular, I should say when I let Spirit help me pick this, it may be somebody you know already, it may not. With retrogrades, often they bring people back into your life. So do not be surprised. And I love that, as I was saying, for most of my recordings, that's what I look forward to during a retrograde. And it absolutely happened already for me. I mean, it could still happen. It could be more than one person. But don't lose faith, okay? And remember, it's always nice to just kind of take what resonates and let go of what doesn't. Or listen to your moon and rising and possibly Venus readings as well, because then you get the full picture of the possibilities. And sometimes you resonate more with another, placement than you do your sun. So having said all that, let's find out what your beautiful love connection is for May. And it could be just the feeling, though. You don't necessarily have to be a person, or maybe you have this particular sign in your chart. All right, guidance for the Leos and their loving love connections for the month of May. And you have, oh, I love it. I really do. It's on the line, but it's funny. It is on the line, but it's a little more, I'm going to say, on Sagittarius. And that's the third and final fire sign. Aries, with Jupiter going into Aries this month. Leo, you've got the moon in your sign right now. And then Sagittarius is your fellow fire sign as well. And what's interesting is that the ruling planet of Sagittarius is Jupiter, their whole life. So there's this optimism and this belief in whatever they want to accomplish, it will get done. And with the fire energy of Aries and Jupiter being in Aries, I would very strongly doubt that it doesn't get done. And if not, let me know. It really depends on how much you're putting forth. You do have to make that effort, but I don't think that's ever a problem for fire signs. Absolutely love this. Now, Sagittarius is a mutable sign, which means they're open and, you know, willing to kind of try and do all sorts of things. An extremely independent sign. They love higher learning and justice. They usually can be very involved with taboo topics such as astrology, or, you know, whatever. They care greatly about fairness and truth. And that's exactly what's going to be predominant with the Scorpio energy and the eclipse, which I think we all really need it. And even if it hurts to realize it at first, I think inside we really do know a lot of the truths, you know, certainly what's our truth. But we're going to be surprised. There'll be some more things being revealed. And I think it's important that we be aware of, you know, the truth. So I feel like that's a positive. And, you know, I mean, come on, Scorpio is very, very central, very much about, you know, deep feelings of love and emotional stability and connection and psychic abilities and intuitives. That's all heightened during these times, certainly with Scorpio in the mix. So beautiful. Leo and Sagittarius, you could paint the town red and just have the time of your life as friends or work relations, but also as far as, and I've seen it many times in my studies, romance. It's on for the two of you. Let me tell you, there's a lot of brilliance there and beautiful, beautiful energy of working together. So we're going to go into your 4-week reading, meaning a card per week, kind of giving you the idea. Now we're past the first week, but that's okay. I like that. I actually like a lot of times, instead of saying, oh, this could happen, let's see if it's something that's already been transpired in your life, you know? And then we'll go on to the weeks, of course, that are upcoming. I did want to finish by saying also that we do have a new moon on the 30th of May in the sign of Gemini. And it'll still be Mercury retrograde, which is what rules Gemini, the mind, you know, and they're very quick and they're an air sign. So there's that whole, you know, let's talk, let's communicate, let's connect. They're also a mutable sign, so they're here, there, and everywhere, and they're exciting and they're fun. And I think there's many, many, many relationships, including in my own personal family with my brother and his wife, of the Leo-Gemini connection. It's powerful and beautiful. Those two elements of air and fire work extremely well together. So yeah, lots of good things this month. I know you feel it. I know you do. You don't need me to tell you that. Let's see what it did say for the first week of the month for you. Coming into May, Knight of Cups. Well, I'll be darned. Go figure. That would be the water element, and that would be the messenger. And if you notice in this beautiful deck, I'm using the Light Seers. We've got this wonderful man sitting on a stool with it's so Leo-esque, and it doesn't matter that it's a man, the gender is irrelevant, but he's got this bouquet of roses because he wants to talk to you about love and commitment and dating and all the other good things that go with it, because it's in the air and you're feeling it and it's so obvious. So you came into May with this feeling of like, this is it. And I'm going to pursue this. And when you go in, Leo, you go all in. I mean, you will spoil that person rotten. You will treat them like the king or queen that they are and deserve to be treated. And it's like a picnic, I think, and a white horse in the background. It's over the top, but then that's who you are. You're extravagant. You are just, nothing is small with Leo, right? You even represent the mane, the beautiful hair that just is, you cannot mistake a Leo's mane, as they say. So I absolutely love this. It's certainly conducive to what some of the messages coming through have been. Congratulations. I mean, love is so powerful and it's such an important thing. And love of self, of course, love of ideas, love of your creative, you know, manifestational abilities. Maybe getting just really more familiar with that is so important in our lifetime, you know, before we pass on and leave to the next life or what have you, whatever you believe in. that self-love is going to get you very far, and it helps so much with other relationships. I feel like we're more compassionate and caring because we know we got stuff we work through, right? So it just opens us up to that too. I love that, Leo. I don't know if you saw it that well. It is, hopefully it's not too blurry. Let's go into the second week, because that's going to be where the new moon, and oh my goodness, 8 of Pentacles, bam, there's that grounded energy. The Pentacles represent the earth, and there's the Taurus energy. And we'll be in Taurus season through the 20th of May, when it then goes into Gemini, as I mentioned, but maybe I didn't, but then that new moon in Gemini for ideas and communications and connections, and you know, you love all that. You're a sociable person most of the time. I have met some low-key Leos, but it's because of other placements in their charts, you know, is what it ends up being. Nothing wrong with that, you know, you still have a lot of the characteristics, and yeah, this is fantastic. 8 is power. 8 is abundance. 8 is anything you want it to be, and it shows mastery in your chosen field. Look at the brightness of that, you know? And then the only 2 left to get to the 10 of Pentacles, which is the ultimate in everything. Family life, you know, love, business, health, well-being, just the cornucopia, if you will, of incredible emotions that we all work for, and we certainly deserve, and they come and they go, and then there's dips, and you know, what would the other be with that? There's heights and dips, and you're at the height, you're going up, and we've all kind of really been praying for that too. And even if you're feeling a slowing of a sort because of the Mercury retrograde, it doesn't mean you can't still be planning. It's actually perfect for those kind of things, to just go over everything and then know once it's ended that the dust is cleared and you are set to go, okay? All things are worked out, due diligence, you've done all of the homework and things of that nature, and you're ready just to fly, really, and soar into the biggest and the highest of heights. So third week. Now, I didn't mention, but also this is interesting because it does have to do with the air signs. Like I mentioned, air is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And Saturn has been in Aquarius since last year and will remain there through January 23. Saturn tends to put a halt on things too, for our benefit. And, you know, it makes us very aware of time, and it makes us aware of being regimented. And if you want to study and you want to take a course, making sure you don't get off that beaten path so you reach the destination that you're wanting to go. You know, it can be a little bit of a killjoy at times, but always for the best, because before we know it, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've started things and then thought, ugh, 2.5 years, that's a lot. And now I don't feel that way at all. Once you get going and you're focused and you're present, it just goes so fast. We're almost half of the year is almost through already. It's baffling. It's just something that I'm trying to express to you about how when you have something you need to do, only think about that moment, because before you know it, you are done and you've gotten a certification and you're well on your way. So continue to want to do that always. You know, it doesn't matter what age you are. There's always something to learn and to transform into. Third week. It's really quite amazing. The Wheel of Fortune, because it's your time and it's absolutely fated, and the wheels always turn. As I said, I was explaining that we have our, you know, our cycles and our seasons and everything that's been since the beginning of time, and we have our ups and our downs, and right now you are absolutely going upward, and that 8 of Pentacles of course explains it. When you are fulfilled in your heart, Leo in particular, everything else seems to feel incredibly fantastic. And I think that's for all of us, but I think especially for you, being as incredibly passionate as you are. Look at you, just on top of the world. You're just like, it's time. Whoo, we've waited so long. And you'll sprout it. I know that's not a word, forgive me. You will shout it to the universe. It's I'm ready. And being ready is an essential part of it. The allowance of things coming through. Very, very important. Absolutely beautiful. Well, let's see what's happening the 4th week with that new moon, because once again, you know, we do have another week or so. Actually, the retrograde in Mercury goes from Gemini into Taurus the very last week until the 3rd. So it's, you're at the gate. You're just like, okay, you've got everything set. You can go away. Hopefully, take a little vacay if possible, even a staycay, because it's a Memorial Day weekend too, and it's going to be the best thing for you. Get your mind off stuff. You've got everything you need in order. It's all working in your favor, and that new moon is just going to it's going to be phenomenal. Write down those intentions, though. Gemini is exceptionally good for you, and it's going to be keeping the conversation going. 4th week. Justice. Okay, now I do want to say this is absolutely fantastic, and I find, of course, justice represents the sign of Libra, and we already mentioned the influence that'll have this month with Aries now having Jupiter in their sign, as Libra is direct polar opposite, and it will always be affected. And it's about partnerships and relationships and new connections, and it's about fairness and justice. And for some reason, if any of you, and it's a possibility, you know, there's a lot of us here on this earth, if you have something happening in court and your due date is up, I feel very strongly that you will have an affirmative yes, and you will be given an opportunity to move past whatever this was about. And you don't get many of those, so you don't want to overdo or ever have to experience that again, right? And so this coupled with the Wheel of Fortune is phenomenally, exceptionally good, fated, positive influences for you, okay? And it's kind of cool because you see this person looking at their reflection, and a lot of times what we bring in our life and what we're seeing around us is absolutely a reflection of who we are. We do mirror people, and we learn from that, I hope. I'm still learning. If I'm around people that I'm comfortable with, I think, oh, I get it. And when I'm not, I question it, and I think, okay, that's in me, and that's coming out in some form, and I'm attracting that to me, and I want to be very aware of that and work with that, and know that it's a loving, you know, gentle nudge to say, okay, it's all in us, it's within us, okay? But this is justice, this is beautiful, this is positive. So you deserve that as well. I think you've worked really hard. I know you work hard, in fact. It's a big part of who your personality is too. You want to be recognized for your name on it, your efforts, you know, and it's not going to be done halfway. So fantastic reading. I'm extremely excited for you. That's what May is about. It has a lot of different energies, but overall, I think there's such positive aspects to it that a lot of the readings have been showing that there's been some very serious changes that need to take place, but can be incredibly beautiful, you know? And so I'm going to finish by reading your other couple of beautiful messages from oracles. Now, this is the beautiful Wisdom of the Hidden Realm deck, and I love it. So just for you, beautiful Leos, and possibly having to do with your love connection. Now, like I said, if you don't know that Sagittarius, be looking for, maybe you don't realize it's the time frame from the end, I believe, the 22nd of November through the 21st of December. You could have had a relative or a friend that you didn't realize was Sagittarius, you know, but you knew you just instantly really had a great rapport, and they have a lot to offer you, and they also are all about that truth that you are, and they're very authentic and sometimes brutally honest. I'll be honest with that. I happen to like it, but you're kind of like, oh, okay, don't sugarcoat or anything, just tell me how you feel, you know. You appreciate that, you like that. And so there's going to be some positive Jupiterian kind of influences when you're around the specific Sagittarius, or you have that in your chart, as I mentioned. Your message fell, Yes, the Rainbow Prince, compensation and perseverance. Well, I know you have the perseverance. You're a fixed sign, and I know Leo's personally and friend-wise, and that's just exactly what you're about. But I love this. It's number 26. 2 plus 6 together, numerology becomes that 8. And here's the 8 of Pentacles. So there's not a coincidence, but an absolute, synchronicity here for you to realize it is time, and it's big, and it's going to continue to be big, and to allow that, because I think you have that capability, and I only think you like to think big anyway, so to be honest, so it's coming. And just prepare and enjoy and be your incredible, generous self with it. And then it keeps coming even more. I'm going to read to you specifically what it says in the book for this. I'm really excited. I feel beautiful in my body right now for this message coming through, these messages. 26. When the Rainbow Prince appears as your ally, he reminds you about the law of compensation and the law of receiving. After the rainstorm you've endured, and that's the rainbow in this, because one of my favorite things in life is a rainbow, and they don't come around without the rain, so, or a good amount of moisture. So yeah, after the rainstorm you've endured on your journey, the Rainbow Prince brings you a pot of gold, which is the result of your using all the elements of your inner light and reaching into the sky until you touch the material realm from one end to the other. Pretty much what the Wheel of Fortune's about as well. This isn't always an easy process, and hard work must be rewarded by compensation. When you align yourself with the energy of giving the highest value, your compensation is inherent in the act itself. But the message here is more than that. The Rainbow Prince says to keep your sights on the sky after the rainstorms that may have upset your life. Follow your bliss to the pot of gold waiting for you. Perseverance pays off, and your reward will be greater than you can imagine. And that's so important to remember when you're talking, you're doing your affirmations, and you're dreaming, and you're wishing, and you're praying. May I have the best of the best, and then some, okay? Because there's parts that I'm sure the universe can provide that we're not aware of, and I've heard this. I'm probably repeating it from someone else, but I use it, and I absolutely love it. Because it's true, and there's more than we can imagine. So I'm going to also read your what is this? The manifesto, motivation manifesto. And it's kind of what it says. It's just that beautiful affirmation you can say. Maybe take a screenshot of it. That'll keep you feeling the best you can, because that's what attracts good things to you, is that energy field of good and good feelings. Abraham Hicks, studied them for so long, and they absolutely are speaking always of that. What you put out comes back. So your beautiful message, Leo, for May is, this day is to be enjoyed like a pause at a cool stream during summer's heat. This day is to be enjoyed like a pause at a cool stream during summer's heat. Ooh, I can visualize that when it's super hot and you just get that, there's a cool stream, and it just, it's perfect. So that also makes me feel like you need to take a little, getaway, maybe near the beach or something of that nature. That influence of Scorpio as a water sign. I love water. Don't overdo the drinking, perhaps. Make sure you hydrate is another thing I'm thinking, especially during a incredible eclipse of the power. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you stopping by, and come on back for June, because I'll be here for you. Until then, bye for now.